In the booth, we have the ultimate survival authority. Malu Beyonce, pronounced like Skip to Malou, and superfan Gabe K. Should've brought duct tape.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Oh Heck Nah, the official, unofficial, Naked and Afraid podcast where we're talking about Global Showdown. And if you don't know who we are, I'm Malu Beyonce, 2 times Naked and Afraid survivalist. That's where I'm wearing my necklace. And then we have my co-host who is a bona fide super fan. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Gabe, a 0-time survivalist on the show and probably will not ever be on it, but I am a super fan.
Well, what I did hear was probably. So what you're saying is there's a shot.
I would love to see any survivalist or producer try to convince me other than saying, just do it. That's not an argument. And it doesn't help anyone.
I don't know. I think you could probably do it. But what I know you can do is break it down. Global Showdown, the first episode was amazing. I'm there. They have hooked me in. Did you love it?
I loved it. There were a few parts, even though, it wasn't an elimination, spoiler alert. My heart was still racing at times, and I was just like, oh my gosh, they're going to do the thing. Are they going to do it? Let's see how what happens.
I mean, my heart was racing too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of house cleaning out the way. I am so tired of all this controversy that has to do with Stephen Lee Hall Jr. What I think personally is being disappointed he wasn't asked to be on the show. I understand him being upset, but the way that it has snowballed, how did it get so far out of hand, Gabe?
I'm sure a lot of his fans were validating Steven's feeling in the moment, and so he felt it necessary to kind of build upon it. Made a few choices that may have been done in anger that maybe looking back, he'll be like, maybe I didn't handle that in the best way, but this is the maddest I've ever seen Steven react to anything involved in the show. And I still think he owes Kara an apology. I think I've said that before, but calling her that chick and saying, oh, she's from California without even knowing her, I'm just like, that was a little bit far. Like, he and Jeff have his thing, but like, leave Kara out of it.
I love Stephen Lee Hall Jr. He's one of my favorite survivalists along with Jeff. So I'm not making fun of him as some people have accused us. We're just saying we're disappointed in how big this got. To have fans stand up for you, that has to make you feel good. I want to move on from this besides calling out somebody in a little bit. We just started. We're not even 5 minutes into the show and I have a prediction. Are you ready, Gabe?
I'm ready. Tell me the prediction.
When Jeff and Kara go home, Steven is going to go crazy.
I can see other Texan survivalists being like, David Story, I'm available for next season to represent Texas in the next Global Showdown. Cough, cough, cold, cough, cough. But no shade to him. I think he would be an excellent competitor, but we'll see what happens.
Well, usually what they do is this. We learn from our mistakes. Everybody does. And the way that they have it divvied out this time, the producers, hopefully they will change it up a little bit and there might not be a Texas team next time since it caused so much controversy. Now let's talk about the show. Who was your favorite team that you want to talk about first?
I want to be a little bit unexpected. Like, you may think that I may say Matt and Gabby or Kai and Alexa or Frank and Teal, but I kind of want to talk about Brazil first a little bit. I don't know, because Renee is your favorite. Maybe bring them up a little bit. Be a little unexpected, talk about them. I guess there are a few seeds being planted with them because they were the second team to finish the first phase of the challenge. They're very excited. And Marina got a little bit emotional near the end of the episode. And I'm just like, oh no, hopefully that what happens doesn't bring her down or anything like that.
Love Renee and Marina. It was hard to see her get emotional. But what I'm going to talk about is when he says, when you can't understand me, subtitles. That was the favorite part of the entire show for me. I guess we should talk about the rules. No sabotaging. I like it and I don't like it. The reason why I like it is because a lot of the fans will be quiet, about all the sabotage. That's a controversy just cut out. But I like sabotage a little bit.
I was going to say, and there's also no sharing amongst the teams either, and no trading. You can only trade and share with your partner, but not with other teams. I'm sure they were looking at Matt while they were writing this down. No sharing food with other competitors. And Matt's just like, what? I just shared 2 boars on Last One Standing season 3. Why are you mad at me?
I wonder how they're going to enforce that. Because this show is real no matter what anybody says. If production leaves before they are locked into their bomas, what is stopping them from meeting up off camera with food? I'm just saying I can totally see Matt giving other people food when the cameras aren't there because he is so great and he loves feeding people.
You know, you got to find out where you have to look to see where they place the GoPros. You place the food outside of the line of sight of the GoPro. Just be like, I'll be right back. I have to powder my nose. And then you grab the meat and chuck it over to the next camp out of view of their GoPro. They have to be like, oh, did I hear something outside? Let me grab my kukri and see.
We have the point system. I'm loving the point system. And right now, we have in first place Matt and Gabby. Was anybody surprised? I mean, they're wonderful. Oh, I almost forgot. Said something about why he came back. And he 100% changed my mind. You're right, Matt. I'm wrong. Wants to come back because he wants to win. You know what? You're right. I'm wrong. Come back. Come back and try to win this thing. I don't think you're going to win again. I told you, he's too good at heart. That's all I have to say about it. He's too good at heart to win.
But will the partnership with Gabby maybe change things where her drive to win kind of equals out with his maybe not as much drive to?
I don't know. So, I mean, how can her competitive spirit be so competitive when she's so god darn nice? Which, saying god darn, lets me move to Jeff and Kara. You know why I love Jeff? Because Jeff failed miserably.
Careful, the Jeff fans will come for you.
Hang on. He failed miserably making primitive fire. And guess what? Don't come for me, fans. You know why? Because he owned it. And that's why I like Jeff. He failed and he owned it. How refreshing is that?
It's a significant change from where we saw him on his first Last One Standing, and it seems he is gaining some character development as he's going on. He's just like, you know what? I failed for a 3rd time, but it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, I mean, he's still trash talking Jeff like, yeah, Matt and them might be first, but they won't be there for long. I mean, this is why we love Jeff. Oh my God. My second favorite part of the show, and I do not know how Jeff kept a straight face, was when Kara said, yeah, wet the tip. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were thinking that because he's like, oh, I need to wet the end of the spindle. And she's like, yeah.
She meant it to be a double entendre. It was definitely meant to be said that way. And Jeff, he chuckled, but he kept going. How he was able to keep going, I have no idea. That was my second favorite moment of the show.
When he was like, oh, lead the way, princess. And she's like, I'm the queen. I was just like, okay. So I think this is a good pairing. I think that I can see them like not imploding too much.
Right. Well, you do get hangry out there. I remember she called herself a queen, and I think it was Castaways. You know, I'm the queen of duct tape, but there could be 2 queens.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I'm not going to go there with you, Kara. You are definitely a queen. I'm the queen of duct tape. Let's keep going. There's been a lot of controversy that I didn't even know about. Me and Gabe had a little talk yesterday, and he told me that people are coming after Dan and Rachel. I don't like it. I rewatched the show for like the 4th time. What are they saying about Dan and Rachel? And then tell me why you think they're saying that.
I noticed a lot of stuff about Dan, but then, you know, I saw some stuff about Rachel. So I'm like, okay, there seems to be a little bit of a balance here. But a lot of people are saying that Dan is being disrespectful to her. He's blaming her for his shortcomings. They said he's hoarding all of the items because he had both knives, because there's one part where she's like, do you have both of the knives? And he says yes. And then what we didn't see was Rachel was begging him for a knife because there was a branch she really wanted to cut down. And he said, no, I'll do it because I'm above you. Just kidding. He never said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're just being mean unnecessarily and bringing up like, oh, you know, he should be nicer to his partner. Seeing someone say that the partnership is a quote unquote dumpster fire, you know.
Why would say that. So far, their partnership is right on track. They're reading into the future, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people want to nitpick Dan specifically, but I also think that because
I'm going to stop you there. You said something that you feel like people want to nitpick Dan. And I agree with you. And I just want to say something really fast. Sorry to interrupt you. I agree that people want to do that. And we all know it's most likely because of his sexual identity. Is that the way to say it?
yes,
Okay. I don't discriminate against anybody. I don't care what it is. Okay. And I'm just going to put it out there that subconsciously and consciously, people are probably picking on him because of that. Not fair. So I'm going to cut out 90% of the people that are hating on Dan because there's nothing that he's done thus far on the show that are warranting these kinds of messages and feelings. So I think that's what it is. I'm just going to be honest with you, Gabe. I think that's what it is, and I think it needs to be addressed. It's wrong.
yeah. And I'm not saying everybody is saying that, but I'm saying a good majority of people are saying that. And if you're getting mad at this statement where, we're like, you're picking on him because of his sexuality and you're getting mad, then maybe look inward and be like, am I being prejudiced against him for this? Because that may clear a few things up. But yeah, I don't feel like he's been like severely disrespectful. He's said how like frustrated, or he's probably venting a little bit of frustration because he was Last One Standing season 1 and he won Last One Standing season 2. So he knows what it takes to win these competitions, and he's trying to have Rachel help with what he's doing. And he's like, we need to work together with this, but she's kind of tiring out really quickly, or her energy levels are getting low. With the editing, I don't know for sure, but yeah, it doesn't seem she was like really kicking it into high gear at the moment. And people were yeah, as I said before, people were saying, oh, Dan's blaming Rachel for his shortcomings. He won. He should be able to do this on his own, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, can we wait a little bit before we fully jump in and make Dan the villain? Because you would think he screamed at her. Yeah.
And then I want to go back and correct some stuff that I said. Correct and give some context to what I said about Rachel. Rachel, again, is number one great, bubbliest, probably survivalist. Definitely out there. However, all my point that I was trying to make was that if Rachel can do it, I could do it. I'm just saying that me and Rachel probably have the same skill levels. I don't know. Maybe we should pit her against me and we'll find out. Oh, that'll be a great show. Rachel said that she knows that her skill level is not as high. In so many words, did she not?
You are correct.
So y'all don't come after me. I'm not picking on Rachel. I'm just pointing out hard facts. She's done less shows than other people. And me and her are similar skill levels, probably.
I don't know. I don't want to be mean because Rachel is so upbeat and she's so nice, but I don't know if she's necessarily ready for a competition of this caliber. And I know I will never be able to do it, but just from what I've seen, what the edit has shown me, I'm just very worried.
Well, that reminds me of something that you said yesterday. It seems like Jeff and Kara and somebody else did not have as much one-on-one time before the competition started. Who else was that team?
I believe Dan and Rachel and Jeff and Kara are the two teams that I don't remember seeing any moments of them being together to practice their skills, to train. And this was mainly in like the teaser episode that they had on May 10th. We saw pretty much all the other teams working one-on-one, like being filmed working one-on-one, in the chat a little bit worrisome because they don't have much time to like work out a strategy or work together.
Really good insight. I was surprised there wasn't more fighting. I don't know. Like I wanted to I don't mean amongst the teams. I mean against each other. I would like to see them pit each other a little bit closer because just like you're a swim expert, right? You know good and well when you're swimming next to somebody that you swim faster. And so I would have liked to have seen them in a more close combat kind of competition. I think it would have made them perform better. What do you think?
I think so. I think the stakes were a little bit lower for this competition. So we didn't get that like head to head. We don't have the trash talking just yet. I wonder if they did it this way just so they can focus on each team individually and the partners working together. And then later on, we'll see like head-to-head battles and people trash talking. But this was like a get to know everybody and get to know their partnerships. Or if I'm just thinking too much into it.
Let's talk about Teal and Frank. Now, I remember Teal saying somewhere in there that she's a perfectionist. I think she said Frank is as well. I love perfectionists, but will that affect them in the competition? Because a couple people try a couple different methods of getting down the bag. And what do you think? What do you think about Frank and Teal?
I think that the perfectionism will be a problem later on, and based on the commercials, there will be some butting of heads. And I don't want to go too far ahead, but it's like right now they're working really well together on Apocalypse. They worked really
Mhm.
well together. They were both talking. They were like, yeah, hanging the fish that high away from the fire without like taking everything out of the fish, it's going to spoil them. And they're both like on the same wavelength. But
I think that Frank and Teal are very strong competitors. I would like to see them sneak up and maybe, change the game a little bit. I don't know. Pablo and Fernanda, we have Pablo's cut of the leg, and this is going to bring up the rules again. Okay. He cut his leg. If he goes home, does Fernanda get to stay? Somebody answered in the comments. Yes, they get to stay, and they get to keep the $200,000 all to themselves. I don't like that because someone would definitely try to knock me. They would be like, yes, we got Malu as a partner. I'm going to knock her out and then I'm going to keep the money for myself. That could easily happen.
or it's like, wait a second, Cole, is that what you're thinking? That's why you want Malu as a partner? Sound off in the comments below. Do you want to sabotage Malu to get her out so you can get the $200,000 for yourself?
Cole definitely wants to sabotage me. I was wondering why Cole was being so nice to me. It's because he wants me out there as his partner, take me out and keep the money for himself. Percent, I stand by it. Cole, you are tricky and, I kind of like it. But no, truly, I mean, it could happen. And I don't like that. That's one aspect of the show I don't like. If your partner leaves, you get to stay in the game and keep all $200,000 to yourself. Don't like that part. That's a mistake.
Yeah. And I'm sure it would be more beneficial near the end of the challenge because then you don't have to do all these challenges meant for duos by yourself. But yeah, when Fernanda said, oh, if Pablo leaves, then I'll have to do this by myself. And that's like, ding, ding, ding. Oh gosh, I can totally see that down the line, having maybe partners being pitted against each other. And it's like, oh, if I sabotage them mentally and get them to tap, then I can have this money for myself. And it's like, I don't like that potential.
It's going to happen. Especially with someone like Kai and Alexa. Definitely not going to happen. I think Kai would carry their partner on their back to the end of the finish line so they could both win the $200,000. Kai and Alexa, they're doing great. I love the way that their partnership is working. That Kai mentioned something about this being redemption. I know you almost came close to winning, girl, but I don't even see this as redemption. I just see this as a second shot because you did nothing wrong the last time. It's just like you just didn't win. Not everybody can be a winner.
Yeah, and because of her mid tap in Last One Standing season 3 could be where that's coming from.
Which brings me to a very important part of this show. Somebody, and I'm going to put it somewhere in here, made a post saying that they're sick and tired of them calling these people fat. I am so, whoever you are, girl or guy, I am so proud of you. Thank you for bringing that up. Which brings me back to Alexa. When we were watching this show, one of my friends was like, whoa, that girl's bowed up. I'm like, oh, you don't even know the half of it. This is her survivalist probably body. You should see her in her everyday life. It's okay to talk about people's body when you're saying, oh, she's athletic. But calling these people fat, first off, shame on you. Shame. Number two, unless you're calling them fat in the sense like they are so smart that they put on weight for this challenge because they could run out of food and they need that body fat. That is the only acceptable way to say this.
I agree. It's always so weird because I remember when Matt went on to his challenge on season 19 with Tori and Cole, people were like, oh, Matt's gained some weight for this challenge. And then, but on the other hand, if a woman comes into the challenge and she hasn't like gained extra pounds or is super skinny, they're like, oh, she's super skinny. Why is she coming into this challenge super skinny? And it's just like, you're giving these people body dysmorphia. And then survivalists are going to be looking at the people in the past and be like, oh, you're criticizing this body type. That's my body type. And it's like, stop bringing up their weight. And people have been talking about Jeff and they're like, oh, why haven't they blurred out his chest? He gained a little bit of weight. And I'm like, that's so bottom of the barrel. If you want to, there's so many things to talk about his personality. You don't have to even mention the weight.
Saw a post, and if I can find this post, I'm going to shame this person. I didn't understand the post at first, but they said Jeff and somebody else should have been given clothes for this challenge. How dare you? What is wrong with you? And what you just said, what is wrong with people? And then for you to come on social media and say something that they need to wear clothes, shame on you. It's ugly. And so far, every single team has rocked it. I don't even have one single complaint about anybody. All I have complaints are about the fan. Is there anything else that we need to say about the survivalists before we move on, though?
We can talk about the placements real quick.
Hey, let's do that.
So tied for first place with 200 points are Matt and Gabby and Alexa and Kai because they completed the 3 survival tasks per point. And then in third place is Frank and Teal, who have 150 points because they built a boma and got primitive fire.
Water. They didn't have time.
They didn't have time, while the other 2 teams, Australia and Pacific, were able to boil water. And then finally, the other 4 teams of Pacific, Texas, Brazil, and Mexico are all tied for 4th place at 50 points because they completed their bomas, but were all unable to make fire. And they're all in danger of elimination because they're below the red line.
Now, is the red line always the top 3, or does the red line move?
I think the red line moves to separate the potential bottom 2 from everyone else, but since the 4 teams are tied, it's above those 4.
It's going to be the bottom 2 scores the 2 lowest scores will always be in fear of elimination.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very impressed thus far by all the survivalists. I'm going to look up some of these fans' posts. First off, we're going to talk about Rita McLaughlin Lively, which has to do with this whole Jeff and Steven controversy. And obviously, Rita is a big fan of Steven's. There's a lot of context in all of this, and I'm not going to go back and waste a lot of time, but I am going to put her post right here, and I'm going to read it for you because you won't be able to understand it, right? You're not going to be able to understand it if I just put it there for you to read. She says, Malu Beyonce. First, Eminem is like my favorite second of all the world. I'll give that context later. Deflection is not being used in the right context. Here, she means context. No deflection. I'm telling you straight up, he, meaning Steven, was disrespected for not asking to be on the show. She means for not being asked on the show. That's the way he feels. He is entitled to the way he feels. You two icky folk, you two, as in TWO, she means both of us. You two icky folks who sit here and make fun of Stephen Lee Hall Jr. is also disrespectful. He is allowed. You two hold no position and have no position to even comment on Stephen. You first need to know what you're talking about to at the very least, be a survivalist. That's what I think she's trying to say. Your opinion means as much as mine. I'm just standing for him. You're making fun of him. Kind of a big deal over and over again. Think about that. And you know what? I don't want to hear from you anymore. All right. That was difficult to read. First off, I want to address a lot of things. Come on. It was hard to read. I love that you're engaging with us. I don't like the fact that you have several times resorted to calling me and Gabe names or trying to insult us. If you're going to insult us, please do it a little bit better, but I can handle it. So let's move on to the point. We are not making fun of Steven. We are having fun with some of it. We have pointed out what Steven has done and whether we like it or not. And you are right to your opinion. I am so glad that you are telling me your opinion finally instead of trying to call me names. But girl, you have it all backwards. First off, we are able to comment on this, just like you're able to comment on this. And you're about to tick me off with your saying dumb stuff. If you're going to have a conversation with me, let's have a conversation. And let's not talk about Eminem and, head honchos and calling people icky and telling me that I don't have the right to talk while you have the right to talk. You sound dumb. You're on my page talking to me. I want to hear from you, but you're not going to come on my page and tell me you don't want to hear from me anymore. Get off my page then if you don't like it. And that's just all I'm going to have to say about that part. But I love the fact that you are standing tall for Steven. And I'm sure Steven loves it too. That's what we like to see. All I wanted to do was have a conversation with you. So, Gabe, Rita has made a point that Steven is disrespected by not being asked on the show. I think he has the right to be hurt, upset, and disappointed. But I don't think it's on the level of being disrespected. And even if they didn't have Team Texas and Jeff was there and Steven wasn't, it is in my opinion that Steven would still be upset. I could be wrong. This is my opinion. Rita, you're entitled to your opinion, and so am I. What do you think, Gabe? Disrespect or disappointed? There's two different things.
I don't think that production was being necessarily disrespectful. This whole situation is subjective, but I don't think production was, sitting there looking over the potential list of cast and they saw Stephen Lee Hall Jr.'s name and they're like, haha. And then they call him up and they're like, hey, we were thinking about having you on, but we're not, sucker. I don't think production was doing that.
No.
And I think, Stephen was disappointed and he feels that it was kind of a slap in the face that his arch nemesis is representing a state that he kind of feels that he should be representing, even though that's a whole other argument as well, but I'm not going to go back to that. But do I think production was being disrespectful to Stephen? No. Does Stephen have a right to be disappointed? Yes. But the way he's been lashing out has been kind of a lot.
Jeff called Stephen a quitter and has called him a quitter multiple times. First, I thought it was kind of like, they're just going back and forth for fun. No, this has gone way too far. Some other people have said, let's stop the drama. People are calling Texans crybabies. Rita, get off a page if you don't want to have a conversation. Go on the show like I have, and maybe me and you can go on the show together. What about that, Rita? Because just like you have the right to talk, I have the right to talk. Did I block you? Did I, delete your comment? No. I said, hey, let's have a conversation. We can have fun. I can go at you. You can go at me in a fun, kindful, playful way, just like I just went after Cole. But girl, don't call my co-host icky. Come at me. Come at me. I can take it.
And I'm sensitive.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, and she also seemed to forget the fact that you have completed a 14-day fan challenge, so you have more. You have the right to this opinion more than she does. She's like, oh, something survivalist, blah blah blah, and I'm like, do you not know who this is? She's been on the show
twice. I've been on the show twice. So yeah, the next person I would like to call out. They're making comments. Is someone named Cole, Wilks. I don't know who that is. And this Cole person says, enough with the drama, y'all. Can't believe he said y'all. I just caught that. Hey, David Story, where are we filming next month? I'm ready to feed some hungry survivors. Cole, what are you doing, bruh? Enough with the drama, but what's he doing?
This Cole who, when XL10 was coming out was in the comments being shady and stuff. And I'm like, oh, now you want to be done with the drama? Or do you want to get in the drama and have everyone talking about you, Cole? You're great. And, if you want to be a part of the drama, that's lovely. But I can only stand for like 2 seconds and then I'm going to hop out. And then, I'll let you all talk about it in the comments in a fun, playful, shady way.
Right. Yeah. All right. So now we have a post from Bonnie. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put these people's names out there or not. But I'm going to read you this post, Gabe. Dan is complaining about his partner from the get-go. Pause. Was he complaining about his partner, or did they maybe show a clip that happens, I don't know, way in the future that they just showed to foreshadow? That's not complaining from a get-go. That just means, I'm sorry, I'm being aggressive towards her right now, and I don't need to be. Sorry about that. It just means that the editing showed him complaining, and that complaint was from the future. He hasn't complained from the get-go. That is an incorrect statement. Correct, Gabe?
You are correct that this individual statement is incorrect.
Okay. Now, her next question is, who didn't know a ladder would be time-consuming? Who is she addressing that to?
Probably, Team South and Team Pacific, but I feel like it's more directed at Team Pacific.
Caught in Fire was new to me, but I digress. With the exception of Dan and possibly the guy from Mexico, ? question mark, question mark, question mark. Some of these men need to be allowed clothes.
So basically, she's saying, I find these guys attractive, but I don't find these guys attractive, so they need to cover up for my sake.
If somebody said that about a woman, if a man made comments like that about a woman, and it goes the same for men too. Being disrespectful to these men's forms is so wrong on so many levels. I am going to say this though. In my very first podcast, or my first season of podcast, I did make a comment. We rated the girls' bodies. We rated the bodies. And I was 100% wrong. But my thinking was, are these bodies, I'm not going to say your last name, Bonnie, because I've made a mistake before too. The purpose of it, though, was when we were rating the bodies, we were trying to say, are these bodies prepared and fit enough for Naked and Afraid and Survivalist? That's what we were trying to do. We were wrong. I've said I was wrong before, and I'm saying again. But Bonnie, what you're doing is 100% disrespectful. And every other fan that does this, first off, you're watching Naked and Afraid. And this is despicable, and you should be ashamed. Would you like it if I took this post and cut out the part where you're talking about the men's body and, I don't know, took it to church or to your job? No. So if you don't want it posted in church or at your job, you probably shouldn't post it. That should be our rule, Gabe, right?
I would agree with that because it's just with body dysmorphia and commenting on people's bodies, it's like these people are putting themselves out there for our entertainment. They're challenging themselves to do this. It's hard enough. I can't imagine doing a 14-day, a 21-day, a 40 days, 35, 60, and, having my body absolutely wrecked. But I'm like, oh, I made it through, or I did this. I feel accomplished. I can't wait to be a part of this community. And the first thing you see is someone talking about your body type on the show. And just, it's just like everything that you've done is just wiped away because someone had an opinion about how you looked. And it's just like, that can really affect people because other people will see that. They'll be like, oh, I look similar to that. I don't want to look like that. And then it just becomes this whole thing. Like, I remember on America's Next Top Model, there was a model who was gaining weight during the competition because it's a stressful competition, and she was made to feel bad about it. But come to learn later on, she was recovering from an ED. And so now she's at this healthy body weight, but she's being shamed for it. And it's like, and her confidence just boom. And it's just.
Is this the same one they made dress up like an elephant?
No, I'm referring to, I was referring to London from Cycle 12, but Kenya is also kind of an example. And Kenya only gained like 3 pounds. But yeah, they made her gluttony for the 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot. They made her an elephant. They're like, suck in your gut. You can have a burger, but take the bread off of it. I believe Kenya has said, oh, people have come up to me and they're like, oh, because of what they were telling you, I got an ED because I wanted to be thin and stuff like that. And it's just like, people need to think about the repercussions of their actions and think about what they're saying. Again, a lot of the survivalist personalities give them or create a lot of ways for you to criticize them. Let's take the weight out of it. Yeah. And also remember, with a lot of these survivalists, they are expecting to spend 40 days doing a competition as well. So a lot of people's strategy is to bulk up so they can have the strength to keep going and they can miss a meal or two. What do you want them to look like when they come into these challenges exactly?
Catfish Bob is too skinny. Jeff is too big. Wrap it up for us. Let us know about next week, what you think, any predictions, and then we're going to have a little fun surprise at the end.
Gosh. Okay, so at the end of the episode, after the first 24-hour challenge is complete, the 2 phases are done, they're told that they have an optional challenge where they can build a bridge across a river so that they can get to more prime hunting ground because Pacific, Australia, and Team South now all have bows and arrows and stuff, and they can get 100 points if they build a bridge, but it's optional. The next episode is called Fire and Pain. And I think during the teaser, we see a few of the survivalists not feeling good, and I think that's going to come into play in this episode. Who it's going to be about, we don't know, but I don't think there's going to be an elimination next episode. So that'll be interesting.
Hold the front door. I just spit. What? in the world do you mean we're not going to have an elimination next week? I am ready for elimination.
I think we may have to wait a little longer. I've seen someone post online little synopses for the episode for episode 2, and it doesn't say anything about an elimination.
Thanks a lot, David Story. I just blame everything on David Story all the time. Give us some juice.
Oh, gosh.
Just a little juice.
A little juice. I think Dan is the one who hurts himself.
Not my Dan.
Yep, I think Dan hurts himself, and that's going to affect him in these competitions coming up. And then they're showing they show a little bit of a rocky road with this partnership. So I'm very worried about Team Pacific.
No. Okay, that's enough juice. Don't give me any more juice. Oh my gosh, that was almost too much to handle. We love Global Showdown. We loved Last One Standing. Again, people, remember, last one standing, Global Showdown equals the same competition. There's not going to be a last one standing this season. We're going to have a game.
Yes, the game.
Yes, about who we would like to see in the next Global Showdown. I don't know if they're going to do the Global Showdown next time. I don't know if they're going to switch it up and change it all up and down again. I do have some inside information, though. Do I want to say it? Okay, so I personally think that they're going to have another Global Showdown because I think they're preparing some of these international folks for shows. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think. So the reason why they're having more international people on, they want to integrate everything. So that's the reason why I think there's going to be another Global Showdown. Plain and simple. I didn't give away too much. Alrighty.
Okay, so this is the game that I came up with that I'd forgotten about, but Malou has reminded me, where after each episode, we're going to pick a country. And this could be one that's being represented in season 1 or one that's not represented at all. And we're going to pick 2 survivalists from said country who we want to see partnered up for the next season of Global Showdown. And hopefully this can get the ball rolling if production is thinking about it, if they're potentially casting. For this episode, the country we are going to choose from is the United Kingdom or the UK. And it's really easy because there are only 4 survivalists from the UK in the pool that we can choose from.
Okay, let me see if I can guess some of them. The only one that comes top of mind, and plus I'm really bad at geography, is Sam.
Yep.
Scotland's not in the UK, right?
Scotland is in the UK.
It is. So Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I don't know anybody else.
Wow, Stephen Kelly is going to read us for that.
Oh, okay, no. Well, okay, so that means Steve and his wife.
Correct.
So I got to choose. Oh, I got to choose.
You have to choose 2 from that list of 4. I'll say who mine are because I already made a list, but I don't want to spoil it just yet. But from those 4, which 2 do you choose?
Okay, I'm going to choose, obviously, the husband and wife duo, Steve and Jenny. They would be the best. I would love to see a husband and wife on there. I think it would give them an advantage. And or we would get to see some real fighting. Like, it's appropriate because husband and wives fight. It's kind of like brothers and sisters. You know, when you're around each other all the time, you know how far you can fight and it'll be okay. Get on there and get frustrated with each other and fight a little bit, but also know that they're going to be okay kind of deal. So yes, Steve and Jenny for the show.
Well, that's actually very interesting because there is a situation where they are in a competition together and Stephen calls it a spinoff of Naked and Afraid, but it's like a different concept. But Stephen mentions this in his podcast, but he was on the show Naked Alone and Racing to Get Home, where it's 2 sets of individuals that have to race to get money, and Stephen and Jenny were in it. So if you want to see how that dynamic could potentially go, watch that. I think it's on somewhere. Just Google it.
I do know that they show is not censored. I do remember that. It's not
watch
censored. Out. Yeah, it's not censored. If y'all want to see that, definitely go check it out. And who are your choices?
Gosh, well, one of my choices, one of your choices, but the other one is not. I have chosen Stephen and Jamie to partner up for the Global Showdown.
And is that because you just want to do the voices?
Well, I really do need to learn to do a Liverpool accent, and I'm really good at Scottish accent. I have a great Scottish accent. I could be like, Stephen, we need to go and make the notes for the ladder to build it so we can get the survival supplies.
Yeah. I would like to see Jamie out there again.
At some point. Yeah, my main reasoning...
Would they make a good team? I don't know.
I mean, they do know each other and they have worked together before, so I think they at least they kind of know each other really well enough so they can work on the partnership. But
do you think Sam and Jamie would fight? I mean, I know that they in personal life they do get together sometimes, right?
Right. I think there's like a bushcraft thing in the UK that's happening soon that all four of them go to.
Argue Sam and Jamie.
I do see a potential where Sam and Jamie argue and Steven and Jamie argue because I mean, as we saw in Sam's episode, his first 21, Lily was saying, I think we should do this. And Sam is like, you know what? If it doesn't work out, I will move it. But so I think if, one of them tries to take the lead over the other, then that would cause some butting of heads. And so I feel like if like Sam was on any other team, things may work out. But with Jamie, I can see the potential for some like, no, we should do it this way.
I changed my answer. Sam and Jamie then.
Okay. And I have Steven and Jamie just because Steven so far is the only UK survivalist to complete an extended challenge. And Jamie does have the experience of a competition series with Last One Standing season 3, and he knows what not to do. Like continuing to build a shelter by himself and during the hottest part of the day, he's like, okay, I know my limits. We'll figure this out and we can pivot or something like that. But
like Kai said, persist and pivot. Either you have to make a decision whether you persist, and that means move forward, keep going, or pivot. Wise words. Love that. I'm going to go ahead and pivot away from this because we are at our time limit. This has been a great episode. And I think our podcast is pretty good. Please like, follow, subscribe. We offer all comments. Please engage with us. Just don't call us dirty, dirty names. So please like, follow, and subscribe. I'm going to do Gabe's move.
I'm trying to evolve it into like this now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to do like the more Korean stuff now because my daughter's because my daughter's really into Korean stuff and I'm Korean. I earned this necklace. So we really are the authorities. We need something. Yes. And see, he earned that. We need to get you like a super fan shirt or something.
Well, I actually had a shirt made that is Naked and Afraid related that I could eventually wear, but I
hope it's the one with Andrew Shade on it.
Yes, but I feel like the wrong person may see it and get mad at me, but we'll see what happens.
All right, we're out.
Bye.